It might be church. I'm not sure. Yeah.
So somewhere. All right. So yeah, you can share now. You know, the live is on, so they can hear you. Is that too close to you? Oh yeah. Let's see how we can. You got it. Okay. All right. You know how to work it. Okay.
Oh, I need to turn down my volume because every week I wind up.
All right. So you got 2 minutes.
Those earphones, they turned them down because they was doing after hours.
Uh-huh.
So you might have to turn your
Oh, your headphones. Can you hear music? I mean, you hear them talking?
No.
Okay, there's a volume control on the cord. No, on the cord. Yeah, right there.
There you go.
Okay.
I think yours like that too, Lyne't.
Mine, I can hear.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, we got a minute. Oops. All right. So you got 2 minutes.
It's lovely. I love it. Thank you. I love your purple. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Lyne't Gray Show. This is Lyne't Gray, and I have 2 amazing guests. I'm kicking off my Mother's Month. As you all know, May is Mother's Day, is the month of Mother's Day. I want to read out my call letters and telephone numbers. The call letters are KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. The telephone number is 816-599-6893, in which I want you all to put your questions, actually write them on the comment section, because one of my special guests will be calling in. Our email is kuaw985@gmail.com. The webpage is kuaw.org. You can listen, as some of you are doing, on KUAW-LPFM 985, and you can also listen on the TuneIn app. I want we have a treat for you all today. I said I wanted to start off Mother's Month with 2 women who have greatly inspired me. And the first one I met, and everybody knows her, and she is fire and get out and get it done and get going and take no prisoners, and she's passionate and she works hard in the community. And I could not let her be my first guest, because what she has done as a mother and as a community activist is indescribable. She does not get credit for the work she does. We've seen a lot of people decide that they want to hop in all of a sudden on the domestic violence bandwagon. Once someone gets into a domestic violence situation, you see people want to hop in on a domestic violence bandwagon. I want to introduce most people know her on Facebook as Roach Ellington. We know her as Miss E. She is family to me. Her family is family. Her son, Missouri State Representative Brandon Ellington, and her daughter, Chef Natasha Ellington, and she is tough, y'all. But I want everyone to appreciate the women I've brought here. Also, I have Mother Mary Moses. I want to introduce you all to her. I first heard one of her poems, and I was taken aback, and it was at a domestic violence workshop that we had done at the homeless shelter on, I think, 41st and Forest or something. Wow. And you did a poem, and it took me back. And I knew right then and there that I was like, she has so much wisdom to pass on. She has so much love to pass on. And I truly, truly, truly appreciate you. And I just really connected, and we'll talk later, but I really connected to Mother Mary when I went down to where she was from and had to live down there and work in it this summer. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna say hello to Miss E. How are you doing, Miss E? Thank you so much for being my first guest. Can you hear me, Miss E? I don't think she can hear me. Miss E. Miss E, you there?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I hear her now.
Because we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear y'all.
How are you doing this evening?
Why can't I hear you guys?
So you can't hear us?
No.
She played. See, this is why I love Miss E, y'all. And me and my old crazy says she give me like this.
I cannot hear you. I'm looking at you on Facebook, but I can't hear you.
Okay, so you can't hear us through the phone, but you can hear us.
I can hear you through the phone.
Okay. She said she can't hear us through the phone.
She can see us.
She can see us, but she can't hear us. Can you hear us now?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us now?
I can't. Wait a minute. Let me see.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, I heard it, Shreya.
Yeah.
No, I can't hear you guys. Maybe I need to call you on my cell phone.
Yeah, call us on your cell.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
As you all see, I just love Miss E. Miss E will have you in the floor laughing. She is such an amazing person, but she's so passionate. She has an organization that I'm a proud member of. It's called Giving Yourself Real Love, GYRL. And most people think that girl is only for women, but girl, our main focus is women. It's teaching women how to give yourself real love. But she addresses the men because, like she said, you know, a man can't possibly love himself if he's hitting women, or the men who allow themselves to be hit. That's a secret too that men don't want to come out and talk about. She's calling back in again right now, and hopefully we will get her through on the line. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello?
You know, I think he's doing it on purpose. I can't hear you guys. Come and turn up the volume.
She said, he can hear you. He can hear every word you're saying.
But I can't hear you guys. I can barely hear you guys.
Oh, wow. Can you hear us now? He said try it now.
No, I'm just going to act like I know what you're talking about, so go ahead.
Well,
I know it's a conspiracy.
We're so happy to have you on the show. I want to first say Happy Mother's Day, and I wanted to tell Miss Tab Happy Mother's Day, and I have continually prayed for her divine health and healing, and I appreciate it.
Isn't that a miracle?
It's a miracle. It is divine.
Isn't that a miracle?
Yes, it is. It is divine. God is faithful. And
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, you have to ask her for something so big that you know that she performed it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She performed it.
That's what happened. 6 hours. You have 6 hours to live, and look what happened 4 months later. You're still here raising hell. You know, you're still here raising hell. So you know, God is awesome. But I think everyone that continue to pray with us and believe beyond what was told by man, you know?
Absolutely.
We know we got this, you know?
Absolutely. And so I wanted to bring you on because I wanted to say, because like I tell everybody, you are the amazing mom behind an amazing man, Brandon, Missouri. I refer to him in public as Missouri State Representative Brandon Ellington. So everyone.
Let's say that again for their ears to God's lips.
Missouri State Representative Brandon Ellington.
Get it straight, because you know you get me straight. So I was waiting for you to correct her. I wasn't going to say anything, but I knew you wasn't paying favorites.
So, and everyone who's listening, I want you all to know that she has an amazing and absolutely amazing program, and it's called Giving Yourself Real Love. And this is the first thing I want to say. She does not jump on the bandwagon of domestic violence. She has continually continually, her and Representative Ellington have continually, without ceasing, kept their program going.
For the last 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
I've been with her since 2011.
Yeah.
And they
2010.
2010. They
Yeah.
don't
Every year
get,
counts.
yeah, they don't get the funding that you see all these big programs get. You see people, and it's no knock, because all is needed, all help is needed. But I'm going to say this because I know she's not going to say it. When people are working in the trenches for you, I need everyone to, I don't care if we do like, who was that preacher back when I was little who was telling people to send him pennies? I don't care if y'all see, yes, when I was little, there was a preacher who collected millions of dollars because people were sending him pennies. I don't care if you sending in pennies. We need to keep this program going, because she actually helps the women. And it's not just, I've been in a domestic violence shelter back in 1995. And you go in there and they don't help you build yourself. They don't help you give yourself real love. They just shelter you and have you clean up. And there's not the programs that they'll give you jobs and things like that. You know, they'll try to help you with jobs, but they don't help you prevent it from happening again. And that's the thing. That's how I wound up in the second one. But being a part of, and I was actually a part of Miss E's program, thinking I was fooling her. Miss E called me.
I don't need to laugh on that. I don't need to laugh.
No, it's
but I know what you're going to say, how I said it. Because people that know me, Mother Mary gets on me all the time about how loose I am at the lips. But, you know, it is what it is, you know. It's no disrespect, but sometimes we have to hit people exactly where they're at and not sugarcoat it, you
Absolutely.
know? And so we have to give it to them exactly like it is. And so you can go ahead, Lyne't, because the story is real.
It's a real story. And I was, as everyone knows, I was in a 17-year abusive marriage. And one day he came in from work, and it was the first day I really talked to Miss E for a long time on the phone. And he came in from work, and I said, "Oh, my husband's home. I'm gonna have to call you back, and I'll talk to you later." And Miss E goes, "D," she said, "he must be whooping your ass or something, because you get off the phone kind of fast." And I was like, "Okay, I'll call you later." And I hung up the phone. And I was like,
and did you try to hide?
I tried to hide. Yeah.
But the whole thing was, there are telltale signs that people have to be aware of. And one of the signs for you, Lyne't, is because you're a Scorpio like I am, which means we're devoted, loyal, and our word is our bond. You started not honoring your word or your bond. And I knew that something was going on, because that was so unlike you. And I told you that. I said, Lyne't, something is going on, because you're not the Lyne't that I know.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what people have to start paying attention, because it is an embarrassment, as we think it is, because we're tough women. So when it happens to us, we like, I'm not going to tell nobody, because, you know, I'm shamed now. I'm embarrassed.
Right.
Because how can I be going through this and I'm telling people that I would never take this and I would never do this?
Right.
But it's circumstances that happen. And when I seen it happen to you, it was just out of my love for you that I addressed it that way. Not that I thought it was, you know, demeaning, that he's kicking your butt, but it was things that he was saying to me. And I told you, you know, the little Smurf was calling me witchy and all these different things. And that tends to happen when a man is abusive. He doesn't want you to be around anybody that may be able to comfort you or see through it.
Right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And
so they isolate you. You know, that's the power of control. Because what is domestic violence? It's control. It has nothing to do with the violent act of how someone may slap you, because it doesn't. He never has to touch you.
Right.
You know, you can financially strap somebody.
Yeah.
You know, you can bully someone, and you never have laid your hands on them.
Right.
But it may be the thoughts of like these girls that, you know, have these beautiful cameras on our phones now and take new pictures and send it to their boyfriend, and then they break up.
Right.
And then he threatens to send it to everyone that she knows.
Right.
I mean, it's different tactics that people use to keep people under their control.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And you're right when you said, when you were naming the other methods of controlling domestic violence, because I tell people I went through them all. I went through them
Yeah.
all, and I'm still kind of
Because
going
when you
through
ask
them
people
because
what is domestic violence, the first thing that people will think is, I'm getting hit, or I got a black eye, or something like, something physical. But they don't think of the other mothers that commit domestic violence by cursing their children out, telling the children you're not going to be anything. Verbal abuse is sometimes worse than physical abuse.
Absolutely.
Because physical, you can band-aid it up, and you can heal from that. But you never, ever heal from verbal abuse.
Right. That becomes your paradigm. And that's what I teach people is paradigm and praxis. And your paradigm is your faith. It's what you're taught and told your entire life.
Right.
And your praxis is your works, which is acting on your faith. You behave in the manner that you were taught and told your entire life. And like you said, moms commit domestic violence all the time, talking down to their kids, telling them what they're not going to do, or even calling them out their name, or kids look at their parents as a part of them. So when we say your daddy ain't this and your mama ain't this,
supposed to be our first teacher.
Yeah.
That's why we look at our parents as our first teacher.
Right.
So, and the mother doesn't understand how phenomenal her role is in the development of her child. Not that she's raising them. And I think that maybe we should get away from raising and just say the development of our children.
And
because
I say
we're supposed to put the
discipling.
empathy, the love, and all of that in our children.
Right.
The child doesn't have any fear to introduce into fear.
Yeah.
It does not know any control until it's induced into control.
Right.
And and the first thing we say is, I'm going to train my child. I'm going to potty train him. I'm going to train. It's something that we picked up, and I just go back for myself and my own belief from our masters. In slavery, we got to train them.
It is.
Not teach them or instruct them, but we have to train them.
And the reason why I started telling moms that you have to disciple your children, because if you look at what Jesus did, he didn't just talk to his disciples. He showed them how to be. They learned from him. He showed them how to be. So as parents, we are not training children. I tell parents all the time, they are they are movie and audio recorders. And they will play back. They will give us a playback when they get grown.
From the cradle to 5 years old, a child has already walks out of that house with a belief system.
Yes.
And a sense of their worth and their value.
Yes.
And they live out of that paradigm, if you will, what they have learned in what they see and hear you say, what they see you do.
Yes.
Is saying this is how you do.
Absolutely.
And that is the only well that they draw from. That's the only well they know.
Yes. Yes.
So they start out their little lives going out into the world, with a belief system. I know because I've walked back through my entire life and in my healing process and learned, what and looked at what I believed,
right,
and why I believed, and where did it come from, and who did it come from, and what's their story,
right? Because
inside of that is a cycle, and you can recognize the cycle, and we all have.
And that's what I love about what Miss E is doing, because Miss E, when the women go to her, she makes you look deep.
Yes,
and she makes you. A lot of women and a lot of women are not going to. A lot of y'all are going to call her and y'all not going to want to heal, because she makes you look deep and makes you dig deeper. And it was one point in time I had just left Miss E. Miss E, I called her and she was like, look, I'm going to be with your pity party just for you got 5 minutes on this pity party. She said, then
I don't have a long attention span for BS.
Right.
So, pity, you got 5 minutes to get your pity party on, and then either you're going to invite other people to your party, or you're going to do what?
Yeah.
You got to make up your mind, I'm sick and tired, because it's not an easy thing to get out of years and years of abuse, because abuse doesn't just happen with your partner. When you talk about going deeper, it started a long time ago. Malcolm X said it the best. Who taught you to hate yourself?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where it starts. When you start hating yourself, and everybody says, I love myself. No, if that's what you call love, I don't want a part of that.
Right, right.
But when you love yourself like you love someone else, you do whatever you have to not to hurt that person.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You go out of your way to be untruthful if you think it's going to hurt them.
Right.
You know, so we have to start looking at ourselves and say, you know what? And this is something that I believe in. Not saying this for everyone else, but I believe that we all have a sacred God inside of us.
Yes.
And so, is my God stronger than your God? Yes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
When I say yes, he is, it's because we have to call him out from us.
Right.
To fight our
I
battle.
know exactly
And
what
so
you mean.
if your God is weak, you're not going to call your God out. You're going to continue to get beat. But if you believe that God dwells in you, you can't lose.
Absolutely. And you're not going to allow it. Yeah.
Because when you have a problem, and I tell people this all the time. I used to tell my son, when you have a problem, that's a good thing. Because every problem has a solution.
Yeah.
But when you don't have a problem, you don't have a solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, and nobody deserves to be beaten, slapped, or demeaned.
Right.
No one deserves that.
Right. And there's no excuse for it. There's absolutely
but the
no
excuse lies
excuse for
in you.
it.
The excuse lies in you when you ask yourself, why am I allowing myself to be demeaned?
Right.
Where did I stop? Where did this start at? And I
Right.
always tell people, close your eyes and have a deep talk to your soul.
Yeah.
And you'll find out where that hurt came. Sometimes it came, and people have recessed memories, you know, that they have to recall it because we're like an elephant. We retain everything. We just move it around.
Right.
You know,
right.
so it might have started, and I believe some people have a recall as early as, you know, in the womb.
Yeah.
Some people are
Yeah.
very gifted to say that their trauma started in the womb.
Yeah.
You know, and their mother talked to them while she was carrying them that she
Right.
didn't want them.
Right.
And then came out, I don't want you.
Right.
You know, or you're disposable.
Right.
You know, and so we start believing we're disposable.
Yeah.
People walk out of us all the time. People lie to us all the time. You know,
Right.
I get people that call me to waste my time. And I'm like, I can't tell you how to deal with your time, but I can tell you what you're not going to do with my time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
And
and that's where we have to start saying, you may not like my demeanor or my manner, but that's okay because I have to honor myself. So when I
Absolutely.
leave you, I am still whole. I'm not leaving a
Absolutely.
fraction of me there. I am saying and doing and standing in my own truth, which may not be your truth. And that may be, if my truth is not your truth, then maybe we have to go separate ways and our mission together is over with.
Absolutely. It's
Because
not
we don't
meant.
have to
Yeah.
argue with people. And that's what people don't understand with me. I don't argue with people. I might
Right.
disagree with you, but I'm not going to waste my time arguing with you because I know that my call for you and me to be together is over.
Right.
Sometimes we only come together to get to that next person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Or
understand what
to
I'm saying?
build something.
And then
in
when we
business
overstay
or-
our
yeah.
boundaries, then things happen.
Yeah, you're right. And
So I
I
would
do
say,
believe that.
huh?
I truly do believe that because when I looked at the 2 abusive relationships that I was in, there was a time frame and we had accomplished some things, and then it was
Right.
like, okay, that should have stopped right there. But I wanted to keep it going, and they, they did want to leave, but I was needy. And I tell people I was very needy in love because of my paradigm that had been put in me as a child. I was very needy. And so at that point, I'm thinking, no, you're supposed to stay with me. But God was actually trying to move those people.
Oh, God
And-
will move things, shake it up and move it around, dangle it so you don't even understand it.
Right.
But, I
right.
always say, if you got to ask somebody how they feel about you, then you don't need to be there.
You don't need to be there. Absolutely.
You don't need to be there. If you got to ask a person, do you like me? Do you love me? Do you want me? Do you need me?
Or
you don't need
as
to be
something
there.
that they were discussed, that a friend of mine put on Facebook. He was saying he was addressing women's insecurities, and I did respond to him and say, when a man is in a relationship with a woman, he has 1 or 2 options of her feeling secure. He can, when he makes her feel secure, he's telling her, I don't want to be here. When he makes her feel insecure, he's telling her, I don't want to be here. I wish I was somewhere else. But if she's feeling secure, because he's telling her, I love you, you're the best thing ever happened to me, nobody else, I will not get with anybody else. And what I was explaining to people were responding to it. I said, they were like, but it's her job too. Yes, it's her job to recognize that when she is feeling insecure in any kind of way, that's the end of it. It's time to walk. If you feel
But
insecure,
some needs are not being met.
right,
But I
right.
think that we should stop taking people that we date as people that we mate.
Absolutely.
It's a big difference between dating and mating.
Right.
You know, now because sex is so free, we think that, you know, just because I sex you, I love you. No, that's not true.
Right.
You
Right.
just sex that person. You didn't love that person.
Absolutely.
Because love is a gift that God puts between man and woman,
Right.
or man or whoever. The God can only give love because what? God is love.
Right.
Man can't make love. Man can't give love. Man can't destroy love.
Right.
Only God can give that gift of love.
Absolutely.
And that's why words are so powerful. And I know Mother Mary knows this. When we put out there words, that universe takes it.
Yes.
When you put it out there and say, I am love, you would say, God is in me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you or God is love. And he who abides in love abides in God. That means that God in you is not going to lose.
Yes.
God didn't wake me up this morning and say, you know what, Miss E, you're going to be in second place. Hey, hey, hey. You know, he didn't wake me up for that. He didn't wake me up and say, oh, Miss E, you're going to be a loser and you're going to be happy about it. No, he didn't wake me up for that.
Right.
So I don't set myself up for round two.
Well, I tell you, if I can jump in here, the one thing that I'm very mindful of and conscious of, Maya Angelou said, and it is true, you know, words are things, living things, and it becomes what you say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are speaking to me, at me, speaking certain words that's coming at me, and I don't get hostile, but I will throw my hands up and say, please excuse me. I don't receive that. You cannot receive it. That's how I push it back and press it down. There's some words that are spoken over me, to me, about me, or whatever, and it's up to you to receive it and let it into your heart.
You got to drop it right there.
So I just say, excuse me, I can't receive that.
Yes.
I don't receive what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that because words are powerful, and I do not let somebody's opinion. Yeah.
And God gave us the same power as he spoke, and it became, he said, let there be light, and there was light, and he's given us that same power.
And for people who believe
and see, people think that light is something that's shining, right? That light is wisdom, knowledge, and that you know that you know. See, you can have knowledge and not even know that you have knowledge.
Right.
But when you know that you know, that light can never go dark again. You know, you can never act like that is what it is. It isn't.
Right.
Because it is. You know, and I tell people that all the time. Your opinion does not validate who I am.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, if I don't ask you for your opinion and I don't solicit it, it's mundane to me. And that's how I move in my life. I don't take people's opinions of what they think I should be or where I am, because I know that God is dealing with me. Am I perfect? No. I'm perfect for me.
Yes.
I'm perfect to be corrected by my guidance. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not perfect for every man to walk up to me or woman to tell me what they think I should be doing. Or what kills me is, listen, you got an attitude. Everybody has an attitude.
Right.
Everybody has an attitude. So what makes it different? I was sharing this with my mom today. I went to Payless and to buy some work boots, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm already upset because I have to pay $50 for these work boots. And so the lady in there tells me after I ring in, I spent $84 for Payless, getting work gear.
Uh-huh.
She tells me, she says, Payless is going green. And I said, what does that mean? She says that means if you want your shoes in a sack, you're going to have to pay 5 cents for it.
What? Oh, they're acting like Chicago now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I told her, I said, I'm not paying 5 cents for it. We're talking about an $84 purchase versus 5 cents. She says, well, you have to take that up with corporate. And I said, well, ma'am, corporate is not the one standing in front of me telling me that I have to pay 5 cents for this. Right. I said, this will be my last time coming to Payless. She hands me my receipt and turns her head. And I said, excuse me, ma'am, how much does it cost to get a thank you? She says, are you serious? And I said, I'm dead serious. How much does it cost for me to get a thank you?
I like that.
And this is where I don't let people just do anything to me, treat me any kind of way. When I see a behavior that jerks me, I say something to them. And I let people know, some people you can be rude to. I'm not one of those people.
Yes.
I didn't come in there rude to you. I treated you with the utmost respect. and I expect her to leave the same way with the utmost respect.
Absolutely.
That's why I don't go to these foreign stores. You know, I don't go to the Arab gas stations. I don't do that because I'm not going to play that game.
Right. No disrespect.
You're not going to take my money and treat me. But how did I learn that? I learned that through my mother. My mother told me, you did never pay anyone to be rude to you.
Absolutely. I don't pay you to treat me bad. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay you. I'm not going to pay you out of my pocket to treat me bad. I'm not.
But shouldn't we think that in relationships?
Yeah. And absolutely.
Seen,
and that,
I've seen more young ladies, and I want to speak on this.
Uh-huh.
When I was 14, 15 years old, all I could think about is getting a car when I turned 16, getting my driver's license so I could drive.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't think of nothing else about getting my driver's license and being able to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Grown women, 30, 40, 50 years old, are taking what they call a so-called boyfriend and driving him around, and he has nothing to bring to that table.
Mm-hmm.
When a grown woman says, this is my boyfriend, she has defined, and I think I said this on your status.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was somebody else's. When you call him your boyfriend, you have just defined what he is.
Yeah.
A boy.
Mm-hmm. You say it all the time.
And a boy does not get a woman friend. He gets what? A girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So water reaches his level.
Mm-hmm.
So both of y'all on the same level.
Yeah. And
I've never seen that.
The one thing to piggyback off of what you were saying is a lot of women think, and I'm trying to break this because I was one of those women that felt like having a relationship was the most important thing. You hear them say, oh, you're going to have a man, you need a man, and I was told this, I've been told this several times now. And I've been told by men, and they will say, you're not available enough, or you're not vulnerable enough. Or I had one man say, well, I want a woman who needs me, and you act like you don't need me. And I told him, I said, it's not that I don't need you. It's that you're looking at the confidence in myself that I can do it. I said, I don't need you. I need God. I need love. I said, now I want you. I don't want you permanently. I said, but I'm not going to.
Mother Mary's not laughing at that.
Don't
we're not down with that foolishness.
But no. I'm not saying sexually. I'm not saying sexually because I wasn't even attracted to this man sexually. But I wanted him so I could get him to fix up my house.
What does attraction have to do with who you say God has set you up with?
Well, you know what, and you're right, because I have been told that and I'm learning, y'all. I've been married. I was married for years, and so I've been told to let go of the whole physical appearance and attraction thing, because the package that God may deliver someone to me. I'm not, I ain't holding my breath because I'm a different breed.
But God's not going to give you anything less of what is right.
But I feel like His word says He'll give you the desires of your heart.
Settle for that. But I'm just saying, a person that can be unattracted to you when you first meet them could turn out to be the best looking person if they treat you like you should be treated.
You know what? You're right. I gave ugly a try back in 1995. I will never do it again.
But it said if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, my brother just repeat this. If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, you make an ugly woman your wife. They used to boys come, and that was a saying then. If you want to be happy, you make an ugly woman make your wife. But ugly, when we talk about ugly, define ugly. I'm not talking about the outer appearance. I'm talking about the inner appearance. That to me is the most unattractive thing, is how a person acts. And being on Facebook, I don't know if it gives people courage or whatever it does. I've seen on there where women agree with men that totally disrespects another woman.
I know. I can't. And that's one thing. I cannot. I have a blood cousin that I can't get along with him. And I never could once I found out he was the best thing since sliced bread to me, until I found out he beat women. And then he just became this person who I can't stand. And he's a blood relative of mine. But I just cannot. I cannot. So that we are on KUAW, KUAW.org, Facebook, KUAW, LPFM 985 and the TuneIn radio app. You all can put your comments on the page. Okay. Shay Mars. Hey, baby. Hi, Shay. Shay made a comment. She said, or you would deal with a situation if a mom and child do not agree with the situation, even though the mom is wrong, the child has to stay with the mom. If their views are always different, what do you need to do? And Miss E, I'm gonna let you answer that. I'm gonna read it again. Shay Mars is a young lady. She's an amazing young lady. She goes through a lot. It says you would deal with a situation. How would you deal with a situation if a mom and child do not agree with a situation, even though the mom is wrong and the child has to stay with the mom? If their views are always different, what do you need to do?
Okay, we're talking about a child versus his parents. Okay, I mean, we're talking about a teenage child. We're talking about a infant child. We're talking about a what? Because see, coming up, and I'm going to be for real with this. My child didn't have an opinion if he thought I was right or wrong. I was his mama.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We go to an area now. We negotiate with our children.
Right.
You know,
I don't negotiate with mine.
And so I don't understand that. I don't understand what
this
she
young
means
lady
in a
goes through a
situation
lot, and
whether the mother is wrong and the child is right.
This young lady goes through a lot of being down talked, and so what we were talking about, the faith and the paradigm of the, from her mother. So you know, when you're being what you address as domestic violence, that's still, you know, so that's where they clash, is the whole tearing them down.
But you know what happens with domestic violence? So let's talk about this. And this is one of the things that I'm most serious about, having raised a son. You know, birthing a son, because we don't never raise them. They will find a way to raise themselves. We as women have to do better when we raise our sons. Are introducing our sons to manhood or boyhood. I hear so many women talk about the way that they devalue men. I hate men. I don't need a man. He's no good. He's this and that. You have a young boy that's sitting up under this woman,
hearing that,
listening to what his mother is putting out there. Boys do not want to disappoint their mother.
Absolutely.
So they grow up hearing how a mother thinks of a man. So he decides, I'm not going to be that man. You understand what I'm saying? And he has these mixed emotions, and then he becomes, to the point, one or two things happen. He hates who he is, so he wants to become someone else. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He decides he wants to be someone else.
Absolutely.
Because the very one that is supposed to love him is telling him how degrading it is to be that male.
Right.
So we have to watch the words in which we put in front of our children.
Absolutely.
You know, we speak things. The children used to have to go in another room when a mother had her opinion on someone.
Right.
Feel of someone. The child was told to go in the other room.
You have to leave, go
now
outside,
we have that
go
child
upstairs.
sitting right up under us. Like Mother Mary said, they're deciphering everything we're saying.
Yeah.
And they're trying to process it in a child's brain, which the mother can't even process in an adult's brain.
Absolutely.
Because if she could see that the very thing that she gave birth to, she is destroying.
Absolutely. Well,
so when it comes to that, could no one have a worse father for a child than I did? And I held my peace, because that still was his father.
Yeah.
Regardless of how I felt about him.
Yeah.
That was still his father.
Right.
You know, and so I held my peace until Brandon was 18 or 19.
Yeah.
And then I said something, you know, to that effect of how I felt about it.
Right.
And I left it alone.
Absolutely.
Because, see, God it's a reason why God doesn't have that person there. You may not see it through your struggle, but that child is getting everything from you that he may not, you may not have to compromise with another person that doesn't have your moral value.
Absolutely. Well, Miss E,
so
I want to thank you.
That's one of the things that I want to say, that we as women have to be very careful what we spill out to our children.
Absolutely.
And if that man was no good, then you made a decision to lay
down with him. Sure did. You made
that decision instead of going in and see if he had 4 uncles that was locked in the back room crazy.
Right.
You know, you made that decision. You know, I always tell people, go look at their family, because apples don't fall too far from that tree.
Yes.
When you marry somebody, you marry the family. How would you
You marry the whole
somebody
family.
and you haven't met the family and you
Absolutely.
haven't even gone and see who they are?
Absolutely. I wanted to read a comment from Avonda Mitchell Parker. Avonda is a very close friend of mine. She's like a sister. Our sons are best friends / brothers. And she said, I agree. I let my son figure out what kind of father he had once he was grown. And I will attest to that. Avonda is not the kind that's going to sit there and run anybody down, especially in front of her kids. And I want to let you all know we're speaking with Miss E of Giving Yourself Real Love. I'm gonna give it another GYRL, Giving Yourself Real Love. I always say she is the domestic violence
ninja.
And that's the only word you can describe her
And
as.
that's something to be known
And
for.
she does everything, and she does, but y'all, she does it out of her own pocket.
Yeah.
She gets donations, but they're minimal. And so I'm asking everyone to look up G.Y.R.L on Face dot. It's a period after each one. Giving Yourself Real Love. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And what I'm asking all of my listeners to do is
support
$1, $5, $10.
Yeah.
If y'all, they have a barbecue coming up for Missouri.
No, that's not for us.
Oh, that's not for you. Okay, so I'm gonna announce that later. I forgot.
Yeah,
Thank you for stopping me.
That's for
something else.
Brandon.
But I'll announce that at a later date. But
Yeah.
GYRL, she needs your support. And
see, the support that we need is not always
financial. Yeah,
you know,
volunteer
we ask
support.
people to
Yeah.
partner with us. You know, if you have an organization that helps men and women, because Giving Yourself Real Love is not only about women.
Absolutely.
You know, it's about, we have men in our organization. You know, My Brother's Keeper is our brothers group. You know, we believe in the holistic family.
Absolutely.
You know, because you can't heal the mother and the father's not healed, or the uncle's not healed, or the grandmother's not being attended to.
Absolutely.
So what we believe is going back in the holistic and say, you know what, we live by an example. We're not going to sit you down and say, let's go through the 10 rules of what is domestic violence, give me your signs, and then you go. No, we're saying that we become a family unit and love you back to health.
Absolutely.
So that means we know we already have issues.
Yeah.
Because anytime you live in a secret, you already have issues.
Yeah.
You know, we're not asking you to devolve and say, you know, what is your problem?
Right.
Get involved, because the best thing, the only people that can recognize something is those that's walking in.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Well, Miss E, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna have to bring you on the show for an entire show.
Please.
Because we have to get this out to everybody.
Well, I want to say this, ladies. Since y'all want to bring me back, my show is tomorrow at 5 p.m.
And
y'all can just retire.
Absolutely. So that's what we'll do. And everybody, just know it's on KUAW LPFM. So we we'll continue this conversation with Ms. E tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Right.
Everybody hear that. Girl Talk, 5 p.m. here on KUAW. So just come on the page. I'll share the live video. That's if my sons don't pop another, well, mama, we got this. You know how they do.
That's just part of going. And I want to say this, that this year alone, in March, I think it was March, the first 3 weeks in March, it came out. After we have been on the police department about reporting calls of domestic violence, that they came out and said the first 3 weeks of March, not February and not January, but the first 3 weeks in March, they received 951 calls of domestic violence.
Of domestic violence? See, that's a problem, y'all.
Calls, because, see, they weren't putting them out there because they weren't addressing these calls. And if anybody's had any issue with KCPD investigating their calls of domestic violence, please contact me at g.y.or.l.botp@gmail.com, because we have started an organization called War on Women. And we have found out that multitudes of women are missing from Kansas City, have been run away, and we know that we have a serious, serious issue with sexual trafficking, human trafficking, right here in Kansas City. So I encourage all these young ladies, girls, teenagers that get mad and run away from home to be very careful who you're getting involved with.
Absolutely.
We had one sister that turned her own sister out into human trafficking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is very, very serious that we as women come together. I don't care what organization you're with. We have to bond together
absolutely.
to make
and I hate
sure
to cut you
that
off.
we are safe. The war on women is very, very serious.
Absolutely. I hate to cut you off, but we have to, Miss
rape, assault. It is very, very important. This is no joking matter, but we'll talk about it tomorrow,
okay.
girls.
And I hate to cut you off, but we have to go to commercial break. So we're gonna. I'll talk to you later, and we will finish this commercial to finish this subject tomorrow. We can go ahead and go to commercial break. Love you too. So when we come back from commercial break, we will hear from Mother Mary Moses. Okay. We got to finish this conversation tomorrow on here, but I'm going to let you do your poem. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. 900 calls. That is, there's a serious neglect. Are we coming back in? Okay. Yeah, there's a serious neglect going on the health and safety of women.
Well, I'll talk about it another time.
Oh, I can bring you back on.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
You want to come back on last week? And it'll just...
Maybe I might be out of town. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still announce that. What is that? Your...
Yeah, it's right. It's a journaling to find your voice.
Okay. You're still going to announce that when you do your poem. Before you do your poem, I want you to announce that, and we can let your poem take the show out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that is very important.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. You discover your voice and your power and your confidence.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Lyne't Gray Show on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, Kansas City's global community radio station. You're listening on KUAW-LPFM 985 or on the TuneIn radio app, and the website is KUAW.org. I am now going to turn the mic over to Mother Mary Moses. She is an amazing woman who I look up to. I now, after spending 2 months down south, I tell people I live down there. A lot of people say you work, but I had to live down there, and I had to deliver to the plantations that are being remodeled for an antebellum experience. So, and that is the most hurtful thing. And I tell people when I drove my truck, once I drove the 18-wheeler up in there, I had everybody hopping and taking stuff off. But when I left, my soul wailed. And to go down there and to live in and to
She's talking about the deep south.
The deep south, y'all. Mississippi, deep, deep, deep south. And to see the strength in the woman that I have sitting in front of me, because I had to remind myself, Lyne't, you're out of town. And they will throw you under the jail, and they might Sandra Bland you if you keep going off on these people. But I'm from Kansas City, so we used to check in, and I didn't realize, I never understood passive aggressiveness. It taught me strength without screaming, yelling, and using my voice.
That's how we survive.
That's how they survive down there. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Mother Mary.
Oh, my God. Well, first, thank you for inviting me here. And you are one of the women that I truly love and admire. Let me tell you something, people. This little bitty woman, teenager woman, little short woman, don't get it twisted, drives an 18-wheel truck. This is a truck driving woman. I'm talking about the thing that's 20 feet over that you hurry up and try to get by as quickly as you can.
Yes.
But anyway, I mean, so she's not some little bitty teenager. She's not pitiful. Yeah, she's this is a strong, powerful woman that's on her way somewhere, and I really believe that she's going to change the world. She's going to change the world around her and help a lot of other women. Because you've healed and done your work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so you can show others the way, and you can't say, I know what you're going through if you haven't been through it.
There we go. Yes.
Mother Esther Holzendorf,
yes,
she says there's purpose in your pain.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Purpose in the pain.
Yes.
And so, and I know, and I've been there, I wasn't in a situation where I was getting physically beaten.
Mm-hmm.
And psychological abuse is the hardest
it's the
thing.
hardest. Yes,
It's
the hardest thing to get over.
It's the hardest to get over. And so I've grown and I've healed, worked through my own healing process.
Yeah.
And look back and identify the cycles.
Yes. And if you would, while you're talking, let us know about that, because that's important to helping heal. Because I wish I'd have had it.
Well, that's okay.
When
Yeah.
I
Developed developed a workshop out of my own healing process.
Yeah.
And found my voice.
Yeah.
And I'm starting an organization, and actually my vision is the Back to the Table initiative to restore family.
Yeah.
To go back to the table.
Yeah.
To sit at the table and be present with your children.
Absolutely.
And I believe that when we stop coming to the table, everything breaks down.
Yes, it does.
Whether it's a family or a nation.
Yeah.
You can't refuse to not come to the table.
Absolutely.
And Jesus Christ showed the way. And he sat at the table and he knew who was sitting there. He knew Judas.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but he still went to the table.
Anyway, and he's still invited.
So anyhow, I can get on there. But this is called Right Back to the Table. And it is a journaling program where the women that I have workshopped, and they ask their own questions and answer, because the answer that we're looking for is inside of us.
Yeah.
And you got to look at your belief system.
Absolutely.
What do you believe?
Absolutely.
Where did it come from?
Absolutely.
Why do you believe it?
Absolutely.
Who did it come from?
Yeah.
What's their story?
Yeah.
Because they teach you what they know.
Absolutely.
So you recognize the cycle. And
Yeah.
and in this process, I recognize the cycles in my own life and what had been passed on and most of us. But anyhow, my mother, who was a praying woman, and I had a papa who was a Rolling Stone. And he laid his hats in a whole lot of homes. And my mother, who lived through that and all of the hurt and the pain and that she endured with this man, who she demanded that we respect him. She wouldn't let us put our mouth on our father. She said, that's your daddy.
Right.
So she kept that in perspective. And, you know, the good thing is that I wound up making peace with my father.
Well, you have a peaceful.
Yeah, so this is called Tears for the Mothers.
Okay. Awesome.
It's a tough read now.
Okay.
Trust me. And I wrote this on behalf of my mother. And the first time I read it was at a family reunion. Deer in headlights, because they knew what I was talking about, because I'm addressing something that we don't talk about a lot about, and that's infidelity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Here goes. I woke up crying this morning, crying for myself and the loved life I missed, the life I so desired as a woman, the tender moments I had imagined, wished for, hoped for, longed for in my heart, but never had. Just a piece of meat, stored away like in the fridge, salted and kept for a meal to be served up. No pleasure, just a vessel to satisfy him. No afterglow, just roll over, get off me so I can wash. Try and forget about what just happened. No pleasure, just another roll in the hay. Nothing to daydream about. Just get it over with. More of a nightmare, a mating session like the lions and the bears. No soulmate, no partner, no love, no romance, just tolerate it. No morning afterglow. What's that? A figment of my imagination. I cry for woman. I cry for women like my mother, my sisters, who never really had a man, a real man, a man who adored only her. She was his queen, no outside woman, nowhere in the picture. She was the apple of his eye. So many women, so many sisters, wanting to have a man all to herself. Why is that so hard? Why is it not a reality? Is it too much to ask for a man, a real man of my own, mine alone, never having to worry about another woman? Infidelity. Are they infidels? Sick, mad, incapable of giving and receiving love from one woman? Where is God in them? Who gave, only gave. The man after God's own heart. David, a whore. Solomon, a whore. Abraham, a whore. Adam couldn't cheat because there was only one woman, Eve. I guess she was the luckiest woman in the world. No competition for a roving eye, no other eye candy. I cry for me, my lack, my needing, to be admired, loved, adored, celebrated because of my womanness. I wish for my daughters, my granddaughters, my nieces, a man who will give them everything they desire and deserve as a woman. Please, God, enough is enough. Heal these males and make them men. Maybe it can start with my sons, my nephews. My father wasn't a man. Bless my mother's heart. That's all she ever wanted was a man, a real dedicated prince of a man. And so I cry for her, my sisters, my sisters. God help us be strong women while we wait for a man to finally appear. I'm holding my breath. Where are they? Oh, well, I'll continue to be a woman, a mother, a friend to my women, mother, sister, friends. We're all we've got. The children need us more than we need a man. Civilization needs us. We are more than sperm donors. We are the hands that rock the cradle. We are the hands that holds and keeps and lifts the world. I'll release the man to God. He's the only ruler, the ruler of all. And so I cry for what could have been, but wasn't, at least in my life, my mother's life. And give thanks for what I do have. Nephews, grandsons, and sons who are hopefully real men. Sorry, Dad. Mama, rest in peace.
Ooh, that was powerful. Y'all, I don't have nothing. Oh my Jesus. Everybody who's tuning in, just now tuning in, share this video for people. Watch it all the way through. We need to press play and replay and replay and replay. That is so. She spoke what comes from the heart of women. And many of us, there's some of us who I have been fortunate enough to meet who've never experienced
Crying
infidelity.
mothers, suffering mothers.
But you put into words
Thank you.
something I never could. But that's exactly how I feel. And I am the child of a Rolling Stone. Literally, I got a sister 6 days older than me. Different mamas, of course.
Yeah, so do we.
You know, so, and you just want the man. But the strength that comes from this poem, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate this. I'm at a loss for words because this was real, y'all. I don't know if y'all paid attention to what she was saying, but this was so real. And we got 2 minutes left, and I'm just going to end the show. And I want to thank everyone. I'm going to read off the call letters. It's Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom.
Yes.
Kansas City's global community radio station, KUAW. The email is kuaw985@gmail.com. The phone is 816-599-6893. The webpage is kuaw.org. You're listening to us on Facebook at KUAW-LPFM 985 or on the TuneIn app. I want to thank you. You all have a wonderful, blessed
Bye-bye.
week.
Thank you.
And have a good evening. Bye-bye. Thank you, Mother Mary.
Oh,
Thank you.
oh my God.
Thank you so much.